Welcome to Global Watch. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Good evening. Tonight on 360, we're tracking a seismic shift in Asia's power dynamics. China is quietly embracing a regional engagement model championed by Singapore, a small nation with big influence. This isn't a formal treaty, but a subtle realignment that could reshape trade, security, and alliances across Asia. Recent months have seen Chinese warships near Australia, live-fire drills in the Gulf of Tonkin, and relentless military flights over Taiwan, clear signals of Beijing's growing assertiveness. Amid this, Singapore's diplomatic overtures have found a surprisingly receptive audience in Beijing, hinting at a new, pragmatic chapter for the region. Singapore's foreign minister calls it a rejection of binary thinking. Instead of choosing between the US and China, Southeast Asia can engage both. This Singaporean gambit is now a model other ASEAN nations are watching closely, hoping to avoid being forced to pick sides. Tonight, we break down the history, the recent events, and the stakes for millions across the region. Is this the dawn of a more stable Asia, or the start of a volatile, new era? Let's find out. To grasp today's events, we must look back. ASEAN was born from Cold War conflict, uniting diverse nations to pursue economic integration and stability. The bloc's core principle, non-interference, was designed to keep Southeast Asia out of great power rivalries. The memory of being a Cold War battleground still shapes countries like Vietnam and Cambodia, making them wary of choosing sides. For decades, the US provided security, while China became the region's economic engine. Now, ASEAN faces a dilemma: rely on the US for security, but depend on China for prosperity. Singapore's recent diplomacy is a modern update of ASEAN's founding spirit, formalizing the balancing act into a regional strategy. By advocating engagement with both superpowers, Singapore aims to preserve autonomy and prevent the region from splitting into rival camps. It's a bold attempt to turn historical necessity into a forward-looking doctrine. The question: can this balance survive today's intense pressures? Singapore's diplomatic push comes as China flexes its military muscle. In early 2025, Chinese warships appeared in the Tasman Sea, signaling Beijing's expanding reach. Soon after, live-fire drills in the Gulf of Tonkin responded directly to Vietnam's territorial claims. These moves are classic, coercive diplomacy, using force to shape outcomes and warn others against challenging China's claims. China's military modernization is relentless, especially in its Navy and Air Force. Near-daily flights near Taiwan aim to wear down defenses and normalize China's presence. Experts say this pressure is designed to exhaust Taiwan's will, setting the stage for unification on Beijing's terms. Beijing's actions are also timed to exploit perceived US distraction: Ukraine, the Middle East, and domestic strife. China is seizing what it sees as a window to shift the regional balance before the US can refocus. Each maneuver is a calculated move in a long-term game of strategic chess. The stakes for the region have never been higher. For decades, the US military presence anchored Asia-Pacific security, letting nations focus on growth. But in late 2025, uncertainty clouds this arrangement. Allies now question America's reliability as it juggles crises in Ukraine, the Middle East, and at home. Regional leaders see a superpower stretched thin, creating a vacuum of confidence, if not yet of power. US military leaders warn of China's rapid buildup and urge Washington to act with urgency. Yet, these warnings highlight the gap between recognizing the threat and mustering the political will to respond. Singapore's initiative is timely. If the US can't be the sole guarantor, Southeast Asia must hedge its bets. The Singaporean gambit is both a plan for engaging China and an insurance policy against American distraction. It's a pragmatic adaptation to a world where old certainties are fading. The region is building a more resilient architecture, less dependent on distant powers. A new, multipolar order is struggling to be born. At the heart of this shift is Singapore's pragmatic foreign policy, a masterclass in navigating great power rivalry. Foreign Minister Balakrishnan made it clear: Singapore won't choose sides between the US and China. China is Singapore's top trading partner. The US is its largest investor. Severing either relationship is unthinkable. Singapore's dual-track approach is a reflection of economic reality, not ideology. The nation positions itself as a reliable, open hub for all, doing business honestly and keeping its word. This model is now being offered to ASEAN: remain neutral, maximize leverage, and maintain autonomy. By refusing to be absorbed into any single sphere, ASEAN can benefit from both giants. China's tacit acceptance of this approach is telling. It prefers a neutral, economically integrated Southeast Asia over one aligned with the US. For Beijing, economic influence may be more effective than military alliances. This subtle agreement is sending ripples across the Indo-Pacific. The region's future may hinge on this pragmatic path. Geopolitical shifts are already reshaping Asia's economy. The South China Sea, vital for global trade, is now a flashpoint, with military drills and territorial disputes raising the risk of disruption. A single incident could spike shipping costs and rattle fragile supply chains. Yet, alongside this risk, Asia's tourism sector is booming. Intra-regional travel is surging, fueled by a massive middle class from China and India. Countries like Japan, Thailand, and Singapore are racing to attract these travelers, investing in infrastructure and visa reforms. The hospitality industry is shifting. Hotels that localize for Asian guests see far higher revenues, but many hoteliers lack the cultural know-how to fully capitalize on this trend. The region's prosperity now depends on balancing the risks of conflict with the opportunities of integration. Can shared economic interests outweigh rising tensions? That's the trillion-dollar question. Geopolitics isn't just a game for leaders, it's reshaping societies across Asia. China's assertiveness is fueling nationalism and anxiety, especially in Vietnam, the Philippines, and Taiwan. In Taiwan, near-daily incursions have hardened resolve and deepened a sense of unique identity. In Australia, Chinese naval activity has sparked debate and a pivot toward stronger defense ties with the US. These tensions also create challenges for diverse communities, like Chinese Australians, caught in the middle. Rising nationalism threatens the vision of a cohesive, integrated region. Public sentiment can quickly overwhelm diplomatic efforts, making the environment volatile. A single incident could trigger a crisis, pushing the region closer to conflict. To understand the stakes, we turn to the experts. Singapore's foreign minister champions pragmatism, urging the world not to force Southeast Asia into binary choices. Military analysts warn that China's maneuvers are timed to exploit doubts about US resolve and showcase its growing power. US commanders echo these concerns, fearing the balance is shifting faster than Washington can respond. Meanwhile, economic experts see a revolution in consumer behavior, driven by intra-Asian travel and the need for cultural localization. Over half of hoteliers admit they lack the cultural knowledge to serve new travelers, highlighting a gap between opportunity and readiness. Diplomats see hope in clever statecraft, military experts see rising risk, economists see a tidal wave of opportunity. These competing forces, diplomacy, defense, and development, are pulling the region in different directions. The outcome is uncertain, but the stakes are enormous. Asia stands at a crossroads. So, where does this leave us? Asia is entering a new era, one defined by fluid alliances and regional agency. The Singaporean gambit, engage all, align with none, marks a pivotal shift, with China's tacit approval signaling a new playbook. This could empower Southeast Asia, fostering integration and resilience. But the risks are real. Reduced US influence could embolden China, and rising nationalism could unravel progress. The balance between economic opportunity and military tension is fragile. Every summit, patrol, and trade deal will shape the region's fate. The decisions made in capitals from Washington to Singapore will echo worldwide. Staying informed is crucial. The tectonic shifts in Asia will affect us all. Watch the quiet diplomacy as closely as the loud military drills. The future is being written in Asia. Good night.